All right, good morning and welcome back. So today, as you guys know, I'm not here. So your first thing you need to do is watch this video through. As long as you watch it in its entirety, you'll get the points for it. You can see that blue progress bar at the bottom as you go. Just get it done, and that way you'll see what kind of problems we're working on. These are the same problems we did yesterday, okay? And it's continuing to deal with similar triangles. Remember, if we have similar triangles, we know that the sides are proportional, the angles are congruent. So if you look here, it tells us on this first section. So the first section of your assignment after this video will have a section where we have some triangles. It says triangle LMN is similar to triangle OPQ. Find the measure of side PQ. So if you can tell PQ right here, this is what we're missing. Now we want to set up a proportion, okay? A proportion is just a ratio on each side of an equal sign. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take 12 here, 12 over 17. Now there's multiple ways you could set this up, but I'm going to do it this way. So 12 over 17 equals, now 12. 12 was from segment LN. If we look here, LN was first and third. It tells us LMN is similar to triangle OPQ here. OQ on this side, they match up, so that'll go on the top. Now, we don't know what side PQ is yet because there's no label, so that's where I will put my X. At this point, I will cross multiply 12 times X, 12X equals. Now, I don't expect you to be able to do 17 times 49 in your head, so if you don't have a calculator, you can go to like desmos.com/scientific. That's a good one. There's plenty of different ones. You can even just Google it, okay? So if we look here on this one, we are going to do 17 times 49, and as you can see, we get 833. Now we need to solve for what x is, so I'm going to divide by 12, and as you can see, if I go back over here, we'll do 833 divided by 12, and let's see, what did it ask us to round to? It says round to the nearest tenth if necessary. So we go back here, 69.41, so we'll round to 4, 69.4. Okay, so I put that in as my answer, 69.4, hit enter, hit yes, and as you can see, we got it right. Okay, now if we look down here, you can see there are two ways they set it up. The one way, the bottom way, 12 over 17 equals 49 over x, that's exactly what we have. They also show you could do 12 over 49 equals 17 over x. In that case, 12 and 49, those are the matching parts. Do you see like we have here, 17 over x. The reason this works is when you cross multiply, you see they'll still do 12 times x and 17 times 49. So it doesn't actually matter which way we do it. So if we look at another question, let's see, that's not quite what I wanted. Here's another triangle. Once again, you could do like 5 over 7 equals 22 over x, or you could do 5 over 22 equals 7 over x. There's flexibility there. Okay, so now on to the second section. Okay, if we look at this second section, so on this next section, if we're asked to solve here, it is asking us to say, how can we determine if these two triangles are similar or not? Okay, can we determine if they're similar or not? So if we look here, our choices here are they are similar or they are not similar. Remember, we learned yesterday that we can prove that they are similar by three different ways. The AA similarity theorem, if we can show that two angles are similar, then we know that the triangles are similar, as the third must also be similar. The third must also be congruent, because all triangles' angles add up to 180. Okay, the second way, if we can show that SSS similarity theorem, meaning all three sides are proportional with the three sides on the other one. And then the final way would be SAS. We would show two sides are proportional with an angle in between congruent. Now, if we look here, there's an angle right there. So initially, some of you might be thinking SAS, but there's no angle markings over here. So we cannot show anything about these angles. The only way we can check these is if all three sets of sides are proportional. Now, it might be hard to know which one to match up with which side, but if we look here, 7 is the biggest. The biggest side, if it's proportional, would have to match up with the biggest one over here, which is 14. So I'll go ahead and put 7. Oops, I need to switch my marker back, 7 over 14. That would reduce to 1 over 2. If you're not sure why, 7 goes into 7 once, 7 goes into 14 twice. Okay. The next one, 6 is the second biggest, 12 is the second biggest. So we get 6 over 12. That would once again reduce to 1 over 2. And then finally, 5 over 10. So 5 over 10 reduces to 1 over 2. Since each of these is the same, that means all three sides are proportional, so they are similar. And when I say they are similar, I have to choose a reason now. Now right here, I have 5 choices they give us. Now, we said it didn't deal with an angle, so we know it can't be AA, SAS, either of the SASs. We know it's SSS, but we have to ask ourselves, were they congruent or proportionate? And we just found they are proportionate. They are not the same. Okay, so I put that, I submit my answer, and as you can see, I got it right. And here, once again, it shows those 3 different ways we can show it's similar. They did it, you see, they have 12 over 6, so they did the same thing. They just found it was 2 over 1. They did the exact same thing, though, just the other way. Okay, now sometimes, like if you look at this one, you can see there are some angles marked. Now 47 and 47, that's an angle that's marked. So we can use that if we can prove that the 2 sides on either side of that angle are proportionate. We cannot use this other angle over here, 62, because there's nothing here that tells us anything about these 2 angles. Okay. Now, to check this, so once again, 9 over 18, that's going to be 1 over 2. Then we look 8 over 16, which once again is 1 over 2. So yes, those are proportionate, which means I have a side, an angle, and a side. So once again, they are similar because side, angle, side, 2 sides are proportionate and the included angle is congruent. And this second one says that 2 sides plus the included angle are congruent, and that's not the case. The sides are not the same. 9 and 18 are not the same. 8 and 16 are not the same. Okay, and we just submit it and we're done. Now sometimes you might find, say instead I got like 1/3 here and 1/2, then that means they're not proportionate and you can't say they're similar. Okay, and then the final section. This is just kind of setting up our scenario, showing which sides we know to be true. Now, it tells us in the instructions that I is the same as L. So we are trying to show, let's see, we know here that these are similar triangles, okay? And the reason we know that is because if I is the same as L and J is the same as M, that is 2 angles. Once we have 2 angles, so, and I'll go ahead and write, so if we have triangle IJK, it's going to be similar to triangle, let's see, so I, they said match with L, J with M, and that leaves N left. Now remember, once we have 2 of them are congruent, we can prove through AA similarity that the third one is. Now we have it set up, now's the easy part. So I encourage you, get a piece of paper, just write down that one set there, and now I know they have LM. LM are my first 2. LM goes with IJ here, so I can go IJ. Then MN is next, that's second, third, that'll go with JK, and I can put that right here and hit submit, and there we go. So go ahead, after you finish this video, if you're still confused, you can watch it a second time, or go ahead and try some of these. See if you can get the assignment done today. Hope you guys have a great weekend, and I will be able to answer some questions on Monday if you have any.